biggest problem that I see is coaches have no idea what problem they're solving. They don't know who they're working with. They don't know how to go about it. They don't even know how to find the problem. They just know that, well, I will deal with the client complaints as they come up, and I'll try to give them a good experience while they're here.
Welcome back to Beyond the Pump, where we talk about the business of fitness and nutrition. And today we're going to talk about your coaching systems, your entire business systems, if you will, and really a key place to go and just plug things in, save a bunch of time, and just make life a lot easier for yourself to go make more money, make more impact, and not have to work as hard. So take some notes, get ready, get that AI recording going, and this one's going to be a good one. So Andrew, when we talk about business systems, coaching systems as a whole, one of the things that I always find just took a ton of time as a trainer, or I often just hear a lot of people talk about, is I just don't have the time to do all the things.
Sure.
That becomes a major constraint in the business. And I would say probably the primary one. I mean, we had a conversation this morning of like, oh, I can do it. It's just, I got to go do it, and it takes time and this and that. And we threw out a challenge. We'll see if it happens. But time is just a big issue. I also hear a lot of people going, wow, I just don't have the knowledge or know-how how to figure the thing out. And that's just rabbit holes and just more time, but also like the tech and then the cost and just all of this stuff associated to it that I just don't know. And it's intimidating. So I'm not even going to bother. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and maintaining what I'm maintaining, which is a spot of just, I'm not happy. So what other things, if any, do you hear coaches just kind of complaining about, or things that are issues in their business?
I mean, it's a dramatic long pause because there's like 50 things that just popped in my head, and probably more. But I think that to kind of reflect that for a second, people were asking Henry Ford, like, well, what made you, go off on your own and not just figure out how to reinvent the, he's the guy that created the Model T Ford. And he had this one quote that really stuck with me. Like, if you asked the people what they wanted, they said they would have wanted a faster horse instead of a car. And so when I think about like the nature of systems and solving one problem, building some structures around it to repeatedly solve that problem more efficiently, that's how I would foresee a system in the first place and how I define it. And when I think about what coaches struggle to solve consistently, to bring this back to your question, what am I seeing? A lot of coaches have no idea what problem they're solving. Which is why they're in there and their eyes wide. They don't know that in order to grow your business, you need to have business systems or ways to solve problems, because they don't even know what problems they're solving. It's kind of like getting in and reading a research article. One of the worst things you can do is just try to take in everything in the article instead of coming in with a very specific question that you then filter out the noise, right? If I'm looking at, well, how does protein influence metabolism in the mitochondria or whatever, I'm going to look for articles that might deal with that. And then when I find one, I'm going to sift out carbs and fats. I'm not looking at any of that. I'm looking just for the protein stuff. And yes, I'll miss stuff, but I will answer my question. And so I think the biggest problem that I see is coaches have no idea what problem they're solving. They don't know who they're working with. They don't know how to go about it. They don't even know how to find the problem. They just know that, well, I will deal with the client complaints as they come up, and I'll try to give them a good experience while they're here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's actually a good call. I think not knowing what your problem is, not knowing what problem you need to try to solve, not even just being aware of it. We talk about in marketing the problem awareness continuum. Well, that exists for you as the business owner in your business as well, right? Like, you could be completely unaware
100%.
of what's going on, or completely self-unaware of like, all right, I get it, but I think I'm I'm just a rock star at this thing. Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay. If you are, then
why are you stuck?
Why?
Yeah. Limitations of yourself, limitations of the business, and those aren't always the same thing. They are initially, but as you grow, those problems become more robust. Like, you don't have to worry about payroll when it's just you and you're working as a personal trainer at the gym. But when you hire your first, second, third person, because now you have so many clients, now you just have a different set of problems to solve. And that's where your systems have to be somewhat fluid. Yeah. Good foundations.
So through our time as friends and then our history owning businesses in the health field and things like that, what do we sit at, like 35, 40 years worth of experience combined and whatnot in brick and mortar, and then also online and stuff. So, what we're about to jump into, so just to cut to the chase at the end, our system that we've built that we want to give to coaches, we were kind of thinking through names or going through is like, what is this thing? And we really, The whole goal is to empower coaches to go and grow their business, to achieve their goal, achieve their dream, and also not necessarily just be a slave to their business. Because like, cool, you own a business, but like you kind of own your job. Like we don't want that to happen, right? So I remember sitting there like for hours. What are we going to call this thing? Like, what's it going to be? And just going through. And I'm sure chat was involved at this point in time, but like,
It wasn't for this one.
it wasn't for this one.
Not for this one.
No, that's odd because normally
Be on the pump, and this one we're not. It's actually crazy.
we were just sitting there going, and then all of a sudden, we're like, oh, you know what? Empowered.
Mm-hmm.
That makes so much sense. Like it's Empowered University. It's the system that we want to plug into businesses to help coaches just be better and grow a bigger business without having to kill themselves. You know, and that's been an evolution of a year-ish in the making, almost a year.
Yeah, almost happy anniversary. Isn't that crazy? Oh, man.
Oh yeah.
Shit, that's wild.
You know, so what we did was like, I remember us both coming to the table like, all right, well, what are some of the biggest things that we can solve for coaches to just remove some of the time delay and learning curve associated with opening and growing and, you know, really driving one of these businesses to solve their problems. And we had like a list. We had a list. Yeah, we went overboard at first, which was, hey, we needed to put it all
Like
down.
5 different companies were at like the same time.
Yeah,
Like,
there was probably like 7 poster, like sticky big.
Oh, I
poster
forgot
boards
about the
on
poster
walls.
stickies.
Just a lot. I still have the pictures of those somewhere. Make a great story. But
Oh my gosh.
I remember going through. I was like, all right, what are we actually going to include? More importantly, what problem are we going to solve?
Yeah.
You know, so we'll throw back and forth on this one. But the first one that I really wanted to put in there was the idea that people would get marketing plans. One of the biggest pain points for coaches is like, I don't know what to do for marketing, or I don't know how to do it, or I'm not sure what offer, or I just don't know. And promotion, should I discount? Should I this? Should I that? What do I do? And the content, it's so much time, it's so much effort, it's all this energy. Like all of those things are always conversations that people have. Very rarely do I sit down with somebody like, yeah, I got my marketing on lock. I execute at a high level and it doesn't take me any amount of time to do it. And I have all the clients that I want. Rarely does that across the board happen. It's like, all right, well, what's one of the things that we can do to just simply help? Well, let's put together a quarterly marketing plan that has email templates in it, offer suggestions based upon time of year or holidays or things like that might happen. Let's put some templates in place in terms of the principles and tactics that we're going to use when it comes to our marketing to just help them get ahead, but it's also a tool to learn and build that foundation for them. So it saves them time. It creates an opportunity for them to learn. And they already have some templates at play. Like you even get some Canva templates, so you can go get some carousel files for your Instagram or your Facebook, whatever. That stuff is just invaluable. There's directions on, hey, here it is. Here's the generalized version. Please don't use literally this because it's going to you and hundreds of other people. So take it, modify it, make it your own using the things that you've already pre-built. And now you're just ready to go, saving you hours a month. You know? So that was one of the big things that I know, like I was super excited to be able to include to help. Does it solve every marketing problem? Of course not. But does it solve 8, 12, 16 hours a month of a marketing problem? 100%.
Yeah. Well, I think to highlight too, when it comes to that marketing initiative and like what people are trying to achieve with that, frankly, most people have an idea. And we saw this with one of the people that we interviewed this morning. You know, when it comes to marketing, how would you rate yourself? And they said a 9.5 out of 10, 10 being supremely confident and nothing left. And when we started to peel back the layers, their assumption of what marketing was purely social media for the most part. And going in there, posting every day and like doing a little bit of research to see what the trends were and like pretty much day by day, just seeing how they could grow their followers. And when we think about, and then they brought up this very specific problem that we understand is something that most newer entrepreneurs don't think about, is that you don't control that specific platform. If Meta decides to pull your stuff, you're screwed. And she said that her account had been shut down for 4 months, meaning her only tool that she could have used was social media because that's the only one that she was equipped for. She didn't have access to that for 4 months because here we are, and it's July currently as of this recording, shut down, no new business. And so when we think about the damage of that, that's why in these marketing plans, we expose people to different ideas and different potential limitations that you might not even have thought of, which is why if you ever have someone that has done this for a while and they say, hey, I'm going to give you a marketing plan or we're going to sit down, some of those consultations are north of $10,000 to $20,000, just so we're clear. And when I think about the new entrepreneurs that are trying to have this thing that they really care about, these initiatives and these projects and these people that they want to serve, they have no idea how to do it. They don't know how to reach them. And they have this gift and this drive that needs to be spread. And that's why we take things like this and we're trying to make these things the lowest cost possible so that way more people have access to them. And then as they grow their businesses, we have other things to sell. We have other ways to help them once they get to a basic level of, hey, you can create a new client once every 10 days. That's a pretty good acquisition cycle. Then how do we get them to the next level? And that's all the other stuff that we have as well that we are trying to probably make a little bit of profit on, if I'm going to be frank about that. But the entry level stuff, like our Empower to Continue Education stuff, our certifications, like it's meant to be of service, not necessarily super profit focused. So I think the marketing plans, if you don't know what all would go into that, these are a great resource for people to start to delve into. And again, you can find them in our Empowered University product. But anything else that you want to add about the marketing plan, the value, why they came around?
No, I think, off the marketing side, I'll piggyback on the next one, but let's jump on more of the coaching side of the house and just helping clients get results. Like what was one of the first things that you really wanted to be able to share within this service that we give everybody?
I mean, having spent the last, I'd say like 7 to 8 years in teaching trainers and coaches and nutrition coaches, how to be effective and how to maintain clients, how to retain them. Like there's a large component of education that comes in with that. And it was really, at my last place of employee, I was the president of a specific company, and the thing that I always fought against and the thing that really chafed me was this, and I still remember sitting at the table during the interview process and they said, the science is the boring shit, no one cares. And when you think about it, if that were true, Bill Nye the Science Guy would have never had a show, right? Because people will find things interesting if you are interested. And so being that education is one of the biggest predictors of people feeling more confident to take action that are being dumb, right? If you don't know anymore, you're just ignorant, you're gonna go do whatever you want. But if you're somewhat conscious and you're like, I don't really know how to solve this problem, that's gonna stop you from potentially taking meaningful action consistently. So we sat there and we thought about it and we're like, well, we have all these certifications. We have all this, I have like 400 different PowerPoint things. Like, how do we take these and make them available? And that's where we landed on the idea that why don't we take our certification courses and why don't we just make the course material available for people that want to learn the particulars? We won't necessarily say that you're certified in that baseline product, but we do want to make it available so people can become better informed consumers. If you are just a health consumer and you want to know how to eat better, like the nutrition consulting course is still very valuable for you to become a more savvy consumer. Who knows, maybe you want to be a coach one day. But that was one of the things that we figured, we need to figure out a way to get this content accessible to more people. How do we do that in a way that's not going to break the bank? Because we both know of a lot of organizations that'll charge sometimes $5,000, $10,000, $12,000 or 17 different price points to sell 5 courses that people don't use. It just sits on their shelf. And we saw this all the time. 9% of people that buy an online product use it and complete it. So we were just looking at all these problems. They're like, we'll make it available. We'll figure out how to facilitate it on the back end. If you want hand-holding, we can help you with that. But in the meantime, you have access to the material. And, that was probably the biggest thing that I think we were trying to figure out when it comes to how do we make coaches better. So, thinking about the other stuff that we have in terms of templates and, professional development, I mean, you want to hit on any of that stuff that obviously is included as well.
Yeah. So, on top of like the coursework in terms of the course for the certifications, without the certifications, we also have our other trainings or mini courses or whatever you want to consider those. And something like a financial literacy, so to speak, for coaches, right? Our conversation this morning, like we said, was like, hey, how much money I want to get to here. Okay, great. Is that allowing you to save and invest money? I was like, oh no, I didn't even think of that. And okay, you know, completely makes sense. In personal training, no one's talking about you need to also be a grown up and invest for your future so you can at some point in time retire. Otherwise, you then have to go, wow, I need to go get some 9-to-5 job that gives me a 401k and all these things. Well, no, like you can do it for yourself. You just have to plan accordingly. And, you know, quick math, and this is spreadsheet math, all the things obviously matter.
Things to go on.
There's a bunch of things. So don't overanalyze the actual details of the numbers. But if you were to just make an extra $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year that you put into some type of investment vehicle, at the end of the year, it's 12 grand. And if you did that for 10 years, that's a 10 times $12,000. It's $120,000 that you can contribute towards your future, your retirement, the things that you might want. We know that over the average of a 9 to 10 year lifespan in the stock market, and that's just a baseline, you're going to get somewhere around 8 to 10% gains every year. That means every 6 to 9 years, the money that you put in can double. So again, quick math, if we're talking 10 years of putting this in, the halfway mark is 5, so we're a little bit short, but you'll get the point. If your 120 grand was in there for that period of time, in theory, it can double to be $240,000, $250,000. So $250,000 you have now by just putting $1,000 away per month. If you're smart, investing in the right things, all of that stuff. Asterisk, this is not financial advice, all the things, you know, go speak to your financial advisor, blah, blah, blah.
But these will actually help you ask the right questions, which is why a baseline understanding is really important.
Correct. So now we take that and we do that for 2 more rounds of 10 years. And we've culminated 250K times 3, which is $750,000. But now the average amount of time that money has been in our investment vehicle is now pushing 15 years, which means the stuff that was in there on year 1 has had an additional 29 years to compound, year 2, 28 years, et cetera. The money growth isn't just a straight to 750. You're actually closer to around $1 million that you have. So however old you are now, if you add 30 years, let's say you're 25, you'll be 55 years old, and you could theoretically have around $1 million stocked away for retirement, which isn't a bad starting grounds for retirement. Most trainers, most coaches have to go and turn around this whole like, wow, I'm not capable of insert financial required thing. So I need to go find a different job. And now you can't do this job that was supposed to give you some time freedom that you theoretically enjoy, the peopling, a place and environment you like that's all the stuff. So that's some of the stuff that we want to teach you. And again, is it the actual advice that you're going to get from your financial advisor, all those components? Absolutely not, but it should give you some base level knowledge. So to your point, you can go and ask the right questions and start to at least think about those things because let's be honest, at 25 years old, no one's thinking about retiring. Like it's just not a real thing. But, you know, I'm just telling you now, you should.
Yeah.
So there's some of the master classes in there, and that applies to some of the coaching side. But even access to, like, we give you as a part of your membership a free base level CRM so you can actually manage your leads and send emails and all these
What's
things.
a CRM, Steve?
You know, that's a really good question, Andrew. I appreciate you ensuring that I let them know what these potentially complex
He has an acronym for everything, guys.
That's not my acronym. I didn't create this one.
Thank you.
So CRM is a customer relationship manager. Ours that we have is Rise CRM. You know, so from that perspective, it's just meant to be a place that you can house all of your stuff in a central location that allows you to actually market to and grow your business. So think sending emails, understanding your contacts, communication. You can have texting in there, send out campaigns, have some landing pages, build a website if you want to. Like all that stuff is housed within this CRM, so to speak. You get some of that functionality for free as part of your membership. So that way, again, you have a base level, go build a real business and something that if you lose Instagram for 4 or 5 months, you can still have a way to communicate with and contact clients to gain clients. So that's one of the other things where out there, are CRMs ridiculously expensive? No, some of them, yes, but I don't think most people are. You can go find them for $40, $100, like 100%. There are some inexpensive options out there, but I don't know if it's free and proven to have worked, then it's for me, I think is the same. So that's the way we think about it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, I think if I were to explain a CRM to someone that had never thought about how to track, and we do see a lot of specific like brick and mortar trainers people that work with people in person are the worst at follow-up and keeping track because they always associate, I'm going to find new people, I'm going to find new people. But the idea is that, and this is what we see in the research, it takes anywhere from 7 to 11 interpersonal interactions, instances of us exchanging words, and at least two, like, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Good. How was your weekend? That would be a touch. It takes 7 to 11 of those to create enough trust or safety for someone to even inquire for help. Now, how many times do people talk, and then God forbid you try to close somebody on the first time that you talk to them, and you have no relationship, they don't know who you are, they don't know what you've done for anyone else, and now, like, hey, let me sell you some training. They're like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? So the idea becomes, and this is where the people that have the best nurture or follow-up are the people that unequivocally do the best in business. So the question isn't becoming like, how do you find more people necessarily? It's how do you stay organized to know who you should talk to when? And that's where a CRM really has a huge benefit for people staying organized, because it'll take the client contact, it'll give you their contact information, and then you can even put notes in there like, hey, talked about this at this time, whatever. And, at the end of the day, I think that that's really beneficial just to stay on top of what you should do versus being everywhere all at once all the time, which just frankly isn't realistic.
Yeah. The other thing that I was really excited about Empowered,
Yeah.
and this will probably be the last thing that we chat about, and this is not everything that's in there, but you guys don't want to listen to the 2-hour version of this.
I'll stand on a soapbox and scream.
But, the fitness and nutrition kind of programming templates is one thing where, again, we went back to how do we just help people save some time, and how do we, I don't want to completely obliterate all of your hard work and effort and time you've put into your too many certifications, but how can we take 70 some odd certifications and condense some of that learning and opportunity down for people? And that's where things like the fitness and nutrition certifications came into play, or certifications come into play to build some of these templates, where every quarter releasing a new one of those, along with an actual like 1 hour training on, hey, here's the why, here's the use cases, here's the things, just so we can continue to push. But a little more color on that. I think that's one of the important, exciting anchors of this.
Yeah, and again, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so, because we talked about meal plans in the last one. That's what I'm going to reference right now. But basically, like, when you think about giving people an understanding of how to apply a principle, it's one thing to talk, esoterically, like, it could be this, you could do this, like, in this case, spreadsheet math to $1 million. It sounds super simple, but then now you got to go back and reverse engineer. Well, how do I generate enough money that I can save that money? And those are two very different problem sets of like managing your spending versus creating more revenue versus taking home and reducing your expenses in your business and, all those other things. And so when we talk about the principles and we teach people how to execute basic program design, basic assessment, whether it's nutrition, coaching psychology, ethical business development, fitness program design, like there's so many different things that we talk about during these courses. But unfortunately, because we only have so much time, we can't go into all the potential ways that you can take that information and make it a real world plan. So that's where in our continuing education stuff, we have these plans available as extensions of the principles that we teach in order to help coaches understand, oh, I didn't think about how to apply the principle of progression in a periodized fashion to help someone's connective tissues heal up and become more resistant while they're doing hypertrophy and basic strength training. So that's why when we talk about these quarterly plans, they're really just a reflection of the content we talk about in our certifications, just in a more real world application. And I think it really goes without saying. And frankly, to be honest, it takes me just as long to write a program today as it did when I first started, because now I just have more considerations, but I can navigate them more quickly. And so when we talk about how do we reduce your time spent writing programs, it's by taking something like this and not copying and pasting it, but manipulating it and changing it and making it your own. So that way you can go in there and you can take your program design time in half or even 75% faster. And now you can actually go and be with your client and just reflect it and update it as you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be a fun one to watch, and just people be able to use it, leverage it, and just be able to grow. So, but yeah, I mean, this is literally just half of the stuff that's empowered. And I know we have a big launch coming here. We're excited to just get people in, get some feedback, help. At the end of the day, we're trying to make it stupidly cheap, so I'll do the marketing thing, and it's only $2 a day. You know, but the reality is it is very inexpensive for what you're getting, and we just want to make it so valuable. So go check it out. We'll throw a link in there. You know, but outside of that, you know, we're excited about this. Be sure to look out on social media, get on the email list, get in the Facebook group. There's over 100,000 people in there. And, you know, we're going to go ahead and share this with the world and hopefully just create a better system for every coach out there. So, but
now I do have one ask is that we've created almost 100 episodes. If we haven't already crossed that at this point, it would be super helpful for us if you would share this with someone that you think might be interested in learning how their bodies work, how to improve their fitness and nutrition, maybe their relationship quality, because all that stuff can be found in our Empowered You. So please like, subscribe, and share this with someone, and that would mean the world to us.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Beyond the Pump, where we talk about the business of fitness and nutrition.
Next one.